Hello friends, welcome. We are in the Laravel.com website, and if I click on this icon, it's going to open a modal where we can search for anything in the Laravel. And this is powered by Algolia. Now, if you want to build something similar to your project, I'm going to do that using the Tailwind CSS, Alpinejs, and not Algolia, but I'm going to use the Meilisearch. So let's start by creating first the Laravel project, and in the terminal I'm going to say Laravel new Meilisearch app. Okay, then in the Laravel, let's go and search for Scout. First I'm going to install Let's Breeze. So because the Breeze is going to have the Alpinejs, Tailwind CSS all together, so let's install Breeze first. So compose require Laravel /breeze --dev. First we need to navigate in the Meilisearch app -app. Okay, Meilisearch, and now let's paste that command in to install the Breeze package. Then we need to say PHP artisan breeze install, and I want to install for Blade, so let's choose the 0. Dark mode, let's say no, and let's say yes here. Best for testing. Okay. Then we need to say PHP artisan migrate, npm install, and npm run dev. First, let's open the project with VS Code and create the database. So let's open the project with VS Code. And I'm going to open the .env file, and here in the database we have the name for the database. I'm going to copy this and open the table plus and create the database. If you use something similar, you can do that, or either create a new database or change that name in here. Okay, then I'm going to run the PHP artisan migrate in the terminal, then npm install and npm run dev. npm install and npm run dev. And now if I open the project in this URL, so let's do that in the new tab. Here we have the project. Okay, very good. Now for the search, I'm going to create a article model in migration and search for the article. Okay, so let's open the terminal, and I'm going to say here artisan make a model article, and I'm going to say -m and f for migration and factory. Okay, let's open the migration first. So search for articles, and here we have. I'm going to add only the title, so let's say $sign table string for the title, and we are okay. Save, close this one, open factories, article factory, and here let's add just the title also here, which is going to be this faker sentence, and let's just say here 3. Okay, and next what I'm going to do in the seeder, database seeder, I'm going to uncomment this one, and instead of user I'm going to say article and create 100 articles. Save, close this one, and run the artisan migrate fresh dash seed. Okay, now if I open the database and refresh, we have articles and we have 100. Good. Now we have that. Let's go and install the Scout, Laravel Scout. So if I'm going to search for Scout package and let's install composer require Laravel /Scout in the terminal, paste that in. If you want, you can add the vendor published. Then I want to install so in the model we need to add the searchable trait, and let's do that. Let's open the article model. In here we need to add the searchable. Okay, and we need to import this. Very good. Save, close this one. Next, we want the Meilisearch. So let's add the Meilisearch provider. Composer require Meilisearch. And you need to install the Meilisearch also in your machine. So if I search for Meilisearch.com and go to documentation here, quick start. Yeah, you can install by curl or homebrew or docker, and because I am in Mac, I have used this homebrew, and then I just need to say Meilisearch here. So first we need to say brew update and brew install Meilisearch, and then just Meilisearch to run the Meilisearch. Okay, so after this one we need to add in the .env file the Scout driver, Meilisearch host, and the Meilisearch key. Copy that, go to the .env file, and here I'm going to add the Scout driver, Meilisearch host, and Meilisearch key. Save, close this one. And I think we are okay with Meilisearch now. What I'm going to do, because we have created all of the articles, I'm going to import the articles in the Meilisearch, because if let's open a new tab here, and I'm going to run the Meilisearch right now. Let's open the Meilisearch here. Sorry, we need to open in the localhost 7700, and yeah, we don't have any index yet, so let's create an index for articles. I'm going to say in the terminal here, I'm going to say php artisan Scout import, and I'm going to import the app /models /articles. This one. Import. Oh, not my mistake. Article. And now imported 100 IDs. Okay, if I come here and refresh now, we have articles and we have 100, if you can see here. Good. And we have the search, so we can search for this one. If I type here, and we have only 2 hits, as you can see. And if I remove, we have 100. Okay. Now let's go in the project, and in here in the welcome, let's open the welcome resource views welcome here. I'm going to use the layout guest here. So in the welcome, I'm going to select all, remove, and say X guest layout and save, refresh here, and now we have something similar like this, because in the guest blade we have the logo and the slot. Okay, now let's remove that, and as you can see in the guest we have the app CSS and the app.js here. Okay, now I'm going to search for the modal, and let's come here, and I'm going to search for the, let's say, Tailwind CSS Alpine modal, and we have Alpine modal in the Tailwind components. Yeah, let's show the code, or just I'm going to, yeah, we have the Alpine here, then we have a button. Let's say X data open to false in the body, and let's use in the guest directly in here. So I'm going to add in the body the model open, and then add a button, and then add all the models. I'm going to copy that and paste it here. And let's save this, open the project, refresh, and we need to run the npm run dev. Disable the blade, if you're using Brave, disable that. And now if I click open, yeah, it's going to open, close, very good. Now let's remove everything and leave only the input here. So I'm going to come here, we have, instead of invite member, and where is this? This button, I think, yeah, is here. Also, I want to change, so let's change this to say search, and the SVG also I want to change that. So let's go to the arrow icons, and I'm going to search for search and use this one. Copy the SVG and place it here. Save, go to the project, and yeah, we have something like this, but let's paste this button with a cut and say div with class max width of 7 XL MX auto, and I'm going to leave it what tab 9 is suggesting me. Save and come here. Yeah, I think now it's more okay. Good. Now let's work with this modal, and as I said, I want to remove everything except the input. Here we have a form, and here we have the label, which I don't want. I'm going to leave it only the input. We have a div, which also I don't like. H1 I don't like, and we have this button to close. That I'm going to leave. Paragraph I'm going to remove, and I'm going to just cut this one, the input, and paste it here. Save, And if I click here, now we have this only this input and the button to close. And for that, what I want so just copy again the input, cut, sorry, not copy, and paste it in here, because we have a div flex, item center, justify between. And now if we have a X here. Okay. Now we have the modal. Let's open the app.js. If I open the app.js, we have, so inside the resources.js, app.js, we have the Alpine here, which means for that is going to work this modal. Now, if you go to the Meilisearch, and as I said, you need to install that, then let's see how we can use with JS. First, we need to install the Meilisearch, npm install Meilisearch. I'm going to copy that, and in the terminal, let's stop this and let's paste that in. So install the Meilisearch, npm run dev again. Then we need to import the Meilisearch and import movies from DB, but we are going to use the articles from the Laravel, which I will show you. So in the local host, we are going to use these articles. Now we have in the Meilisearch, then we can use something like this. Create a concept for client with new Meilisearch at the host, which is this host, and say client index, and which index is, in this case is articles index. And here we have add documents, which is going to add the documents what we have imported from here, but we are not going to do that. We are going to search in that index movies. So in the JS search, client index movies, and search for Botman and then say result console log result, and it's going to return hits, which is an array with objects. Also, it's going to have the estimated total hits, query, limit, offset, and so we can change the limit how much we want the results to show. Okay. So first, that's it about this video, and in the next video we are going to work with Alpinejs and Meilisearch, creating something beautiful. So when I click here, it's going to search for the articles. Hello friends, welcome. Now we have the modal ready. Let's work with Alpine and the Meilisearch to do the same, something like this we have in the Laravel. Okay, so we filter, we search for something, and it's going to render here. Okay. If I open my VS Code and inside the layouts, GUIs layout here, we have the logic. So we have added the X data in the body and say model, and not model open, just let's select all of them and just say model. Okay, and I have run the npm run dev. Good. Now if I come here, it's going to work. And because we can close the modal by just clicking outside, it is not necessary to add this button. So let's remove that. So we have a div with input, and let's remove the button. So now it's more clean. Okay. Now what we want, if you go to the Meilisearch documentation, we have an example for JS. We can import the Meilisearch and then create a client, and then we can search in that client. So we have an example down there. Client index and search, adding the string inside. Okay, the same thing we are going to do, but just we need to change the index, which is going to be the articles, and in the search we need to add the string we are going to add in this input. So first we need to bind this input, and for that, because we are going to have not only the modal open and the input binding, but we are going to have more data. What I'm going to do, I'm going to open the JS folder, and inside I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to name it components. You can name what you like. You can name, for example, Alpine. And in here, let's create a new file. I'm going to name it search.js. And in here, I'm going to export default a function. And here we are going to return an object with the data. So what I'm going to return, so let's say I want to return this boolean. And now instead of saying something like this in this xdata, I want to use what we return from this file. To do that, if you go to the alpinejs.dev documentation, down there, scroll down, we have the globals and Alpine data. And here we have an example in the script saying Alpine data, adding a name, and then a callback, or registering from a bundle. What I'm going to do, so we need to import the file and say Alpine data and add in the name and the import we have here. So let's do that. Let's go in the app.js. Here we have the Alpinejs. What I'm going to do, I'm going to import the search. So import the search file from here, and then down there I'm going to say Alpine .data, add the name, search, and search. Yeah, like this. Save and close now. And in the guest, instead of something like this, we just need to point that. So here we have a drop down and we add the default true. In our case, I'm just going to say search. And with that, now if I go here and refresh, everything is going to work correctly. Good. First thing, let's bind the input. For that, let's create a new data. I'm going to name it query, which initially is going to be an empty string. Save, come here, and in the input, which is here, I'm going to add x model equal with that query. And to show you, let's add the span, which is going to be to display that x text. Not title, but query. So let's say query here, save, come here, and if I type something, yeah, we have bind that. Good. Now let's come here, and I want also to watch this, and when we type something, search to that index. And we have an example, as I said here. So let's come up here and find that example. Yeah, here we have with import syntax. So what I'm going to do first, let's create a index in here, and also let's say create index initially null and results, which initially is going to be an empty array or null. And then I'm going to create the init method. And if you don't know about that, you just can go here and read more in the x init, which is the same, but we have added in this one. So in the init method, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a constant like this. First, we need to import the Meilisearch. So the same we have imported here. Let's import up here the Meilisearch. So I'm going to say import curly braces Meilisearch. And why we don't have, maybe it's the default export. Yeah, import the Meilisearch from Meilisearch and create a constant client in the init. I'm going to do that. So create a client, constant client, new Meilisearch, and the host is this URL, what we have here. Okay, and with that, now what I'm going to do also, I'm going to assign this index to the client index. So, and the index for us is not movies, but is the articles. Okay, so I'm going to say this dot client, yeah, is going to be equal with, not client, this dot index is going to be equal with client index, not movies, but as I said, articles. And if I say right now console log this index, let's come here, inspect the element, go to the console, we have proxy, and the UID is articles. So this index is articles, client index articles. Very good. Now first let's watch for the changes and then search in this index. So we can search by saying something like this, client index, but because this index is the client index, we just can say this index search and add the string. But as I said, I want first to watch for the query where it's going to change. And to do that, let's create a new method. I'm going to say watch query, I'm going to name it. And in here, I'm going to say this dot $sign watch query, and let's add the query here. And let's close this. Okay. And in here, I'm going to say if the query is triple equal to an empty array, empty string, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say this result is going to be null, and let's return. Otherwise, I'm going just to console log for now the query. Yeah, save. But before that, if I come here and refresh, nothing is going to happen. So if I open that and type something, because we need to call this on init. So in here, I'm going to say this dot watch query. Call this method, and now if I clean and let's search for something, as you can see, we bind or we watch for the query here. Good. Now we watch for that. Instead of just console log in here, I'm not going to console log, but I'm going to search. So I'm going to say, let's say this dot index, search for query, then results, and let's say this results equal with results. And if I console log the results, not results, but these results, this dot results, let's save and let's clean this, search, type something, and we have a proxy here. So this results is an object, and we have hits here, which is an array with 20 objects. Very good. So we have the results, but instead of console log, and we don't need the console log, but also what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new method. So let's say a search method, and in this search I'm going to add a query. Okay, let's close this. It's going to work the tab 9 for us, and let's say this search, this result, sorry, is going to be equal with this index search and add the query. Cut, paste it here, and remove this thing. And instead of something like this, I just call this search. This dot search and add the query. Very good. Now if I console log the results, console log these results again, come here, clear this up, and let's search, type something, and we have a promise. So we need to make this async await. Let's do that, async and await here. And let's save, and let's try again. So yeah, now we have a proxy again, which has 20 hits. Good. So now the results are okay. What I want is, let's work to display the results in here. So we have the input. This is flex item center justify between. And let's remove this one. Just I'm going to say with full. Come here, and yeah. Okay, then down there, I'm going to say, first I'm going to say template and x if we have a result. So if we have a results, because results is by default null. So if not null, I'm going to display something in here. And that something is the hits we have. So for that, I'm going to, let's add a div with a class, and I'm going to say py2 and px3. And first thing, let's display. So let's come here again, save, and we have a console log the results. Okay, good. If you see in the results, we have an object and we have this estimated total hits. So if I type something else and see this one, the estimated total hits is 0. So how many hits we have with this query searched? So for that I'm going to display in here. So let's say if I come here and let's say found, and we need to use a span x text results, not results length, but results and estimated total hits. So let's copy that string and paste it here. So if I save and see now, yeah, I found 100 results. Okay. Now if I type something else, find 0 results. Good. Then after this one, I'm going to display the hits. So then we need to make an v4, or not v4, x4. It's not Vue.js, but it's Alpine, so we need to make x4 results hits and display the title. Okay, so let's do that. After this one, and here I'm going to add a template. I'm going to say x show. I'm going to show this. If the results hits length is greater than 0, so results hits length hits is an array. If the length is greater than 0, I'm going to show this, and I'm going to make the x4 here. So x4 equal, and add here parentheses. I'm going to say hit and index. I'm going to add the index in results dot hits. Okay. And now after that, let's close the template. Inside this, let's display an anchor tag, and I'm going to say href. For now, just add the hash in here, and let's display inside here an h2 and say x text equal with hit title. Okay, x text hit dot title, and close this one. And then we need to style this, but for now, just to see the results. So if I type something, yeah, we have, and by default the limit is 20, as you can see here. Good. Now let's add some styling. So in this anchor tag, I'm going to say add a class to be block with full, and let's say py 2 px of 3, and I'm going to add border. So border bottom, and in the border bottom I'm going to say border slate 200. I think it's okay. Let's save. Come here and let's search the, yeah, here we have something like this now. It can be better, but it's okay for me. Now if you don't want the limit to be 20, because as you can see it's maybe too big, we can add in the search. So here a second parameter, which is going to be a number, any. So I'm going to say a limit, for example 10, and if I save and let's search now, we have 10 results. Okay friends, that's it about this video. In the next video now, if you like, you can skip and just work with that. You can add here, for example, in the anchor tag href, and let's say, for example, articles/articles, and let's add backticks/articles/ $sign and hit dot id, and we need to bind this. We can say x bind, and let's search now for something like this, and as you can see we have articles and the ID then. Or you can add the URL slug, but that's it, the example. So we have the modal, and we can search and make sure you have run the Meilisearch here to work correctly. But if I close this, so if I click outside, it's going to close, and if I open again, we can see the query is not reset, it's not clean. So we have the previous search and also the results the same. And I want, when I click here, I want, when we close the modal, I want also to clean the query and the results. Next, in the Laravel, we take the search here as an example. We can see, we can open the modal also by just pressing the slash key on the keyboard. So if I type slash, yeah. Also, we can close just by pressing the escape key. We can open also by pressing the Command K, and let's search for something, and we can navigate using the arrow up and down. Okay. Now let's do something similar in our project. But first, I said, let's fix this to clean that. What I'm going to do in the VS Code, let's open the Guest blade, and on the input, I'm going to add on click event. So on click away or outside, I'm going to say not modal open to false, but I'm going to create the reset method. So save that, and let's create this reset method in the search.js. Here, let's create that method, which is going to clean the modal open to false, query empty string, and the results to null. So let's say down there, this results to null, this query to empty string, and this dot, not index, but I want the modal open to be false. Save, come here and refresh, and why we have something like this? Yeah, because we closed that. We don't need to close, just, and now let's try, search for something, click outside, open, yeah. Next, let's open and close the modal with a keyboard. So on the body, I'm going to add on the key down event, keydown.meta.k, and if we click that, I want this modal open to be true. And let's save, come here, refresh, click the Command K, good. Let's close, and now let's work this into the same, but change the key instead of meta key, I'm going to add escape key on the escape key. And I'm going to call the reset method again, which is going to close the modal, so modal open to false, initialize the query with empty string and results null. So let's say that, reset, call that, save, come here, refresh, and let's Command K, and let's search for something, escape, yeah. Okay, next thing what we need. Okay, now let's work with the navigation using the arrow up and arrow down. And in the Laravel also, you can, if I inspect here, input, inspect element, you can see we have on the key down, arrow up, prevent, and is calling this focus previous result, and on arrow down, prevent focus next result. So let's do something similar. So I'm going to call on the arrow up the focus previous result, and on the input we need to do that. So let's call input, and but not results, I'm going to say, or we can say results, no problem. And then for the arrow down, focus on the next result. So let's add that, and now we need to create the focus previous results and the focus next result method in the search.js. So I'm going to copy that and come here, and the next result, which is focus next result, this one, and paste it here. Now let's also save this one. And now we need somehow let's close this. And let's come here, and when we click search for something, I want to track the result index. So if you go here and yeah, here we have the x4 and hit, and also we have the index in the results index. Now I'm going to create a new state in the here. I'm going to say the selected index, selected index, or we can say, let's say selected hit index, better, I think. And initially this is going to be 0. Now on here on the anchor tag, I'm going to bind a new class, and I'm going to say the class, not text indigo, but let's give it a bg blue of, let's say bg blue 300, and this is going to only if the no hit type, but the index, if the index, so the index is going to be, it's going to start from 0, and if we have the result hits length of 20, the index is going to be it's going to start from 0 to 19. Now if this is triple equal to the selected index here we created, which initially is 0, and this index also is going to start from 0 if we have results. So this means the first result is going to be highlighted. So let's search. Yeah. Now when we click arrow down, I need to add one to this selected hit index, and we can do just in here. So arrow down, so if I just add the selected index ++ and save, yeah, if I say arrow down, but yeah, for down is going to work, then it's going to lost, because just is going to increase the number, and we don't need that. What we need is, let's go here and on the focus on the next result. I'm going to check first if this selected index is smaller than the results hits length. So if we have here 18 results, if that is smaller than that, I'm going to add 1. Otherwise, I'm going to select reset to 0. So let's do that. Let's check if this selected hit index is not triple equal with that, but is smaller than this result hits length -1, because as I said, the index is going to start from 0 and the length is going to start from 1. So if this is 20, the index is going to be 19. So for that I added the -1 here, and if this is smaller than the length here, which means is not equal to 18, I'm going to add 1. If that is equal to 17, which means is here, I'm going to reset to 0. I'm going to assign to 0 and go up here. I think it makes sense for you. Just let's say this dot selected index ++. Otherwise, if that is not the case, so if this is not smaller than the length but is equal, maybe I'm going to say this selected index equals with a 0, and then it's going to be 0 and add plus plus again. So let's search. It's going to scroll down and then initialize to 0 again and assign to 0 again. Good. Let's work with the up now. So arrow up, which is for the focus previous URL, and here we are going to check also here if this results index. Now here I'm going to check if this is triple equal to 0. Okay. Now if it's 0, which means, and let's search for something, is here, and we scroll and we click the arrow up. Now we need to assign that with the length, with the results length -1, which is the go up here, down here. Okay, so let's say this dot selected index to be equal with this results length, but not just results. We need to say results dot hits dot length. Okay. Otherwise, I'm going to say this selected index -. So let's see now. Let's save and then let's try. So scroll down, scroll up, and it's working correctly. Good. Now if I click enter, nothing is going to happen. If I click with the mouse, yeah. But what also is, if I say something and move the mouse, yeah, we can see the URL change, but also I want to change the hover. For that, we need to go in the anchor tag, and here I'm going to add mouse enter. On mouse enter, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say selected index to be equal with the index. And now if I save and come here and refresh, let's search. As you can see, the URL down there is changing, and also the hover. Good. Okay, next, what we can do. Also now let's search, and if I enter here, nothing happens. So we need to also work with that. For this, I'm going to add on the key up dot enter. I'm going to call the on hit enter, and let's save and let's copy this and create the method down there. On here, I'm going to create the method on hit enter, and what I'm going to do is create a constant for the hit. Just say constant hit, which is going to be this results hits, and add this selected hit. So we get the hit, and then I'm going to say window dot location is going to be equal with what we have here. Yeah, let's copy that and do the same in here. Paste that, and then also I'm going to call this dot reset to reset the result, and also to reset the query. So if I save and let's come here and let's try again, scroll down, hit enter. Yeah, we navigated the articles. So let's see here again over. This is the article 3, as you can see here. And let's navigate with arrow up and down and click enter. And yeah, we navigate to the /article/3. Good. What is to do? So we have the search, we can, oh yeah. Now as you can see, if I open, we need to move the mouse here and enter. So let's work with that also. If you go to the Alpinejs, and here you can search for the keyboard events, what we have worked. Also for the outside window and so on. But what I want is to use this focus. Okay, we need to install the plugin first. So let's install the plugin with copy and open the terminal. I'm going to terminate this and paste. And then install, run again the Meilisearch. Okay, then we need to import the focus and say Alpine plugin, add the focus. Okay, copy that and open the app.js and paste that inside here. Let's save. Next, we need to add the X trap on the model. So I'm going to copy that and let's navigate in the Quest blade. And I'm going to add that X show. We have here X clock, and also we need to work with this X clock here. And I'm going to add this in here. X trap to open, not to open, but the modal open. I'm going to copy that and paste it here. Then what I want to do is in the input, I'm going to add X ref to be equal with, let's say, search input, like this, and copy that and navigate on the button when we say modal open to true. We don't need to say something like this, just say true here. And after that, I'm going to use the next tick. So let's say $sign next tick, and not modal open to false, but I want to say $sign refs and get the search input focus and close that here. And the same thing I want to do also. Let's copy in the key down meta key modal open to true. So when we open with keyboard event, do that, save, come here and refresh, and we have an error. Where is the error? Yes, results is not defined. Query, yeah, we need to Meilisearch is here running. Now we need to say npm run dev. Sorry for that. And refresh. Okay, now if I open, we have that focus on the input, and if I search for something, very good. Also, as you can see, is going to, so it's going to remain here when we update the search. Well, let's fix that. It's going to be the last thing, I think. On the search here, when we have the console log, let's remove, and let's say this dot selected hit index to be 0. Okay, so save, come here. Yeah, let's search, and if I clean, yeah, it's going to go 0 again. Very good. I think we are okay. Escape, Command K, yeah, is focus, very good. The last thing is to work with this X clock, because if I refresh, as you can see, we have that thing which I don't like. Let's go to the Alpinejs X clock here, and we need to add this thing in the guest. Up here, I'm going to add style, clothes, and paste that in. And in every X show, we need to add the X clock. So let's do that. And I think we have done in here, but let's move also up here. And let's save, come here, refresh, and as you can see, nothing happened very good. Command K, and it's working everything. That's it about this video, friends, and this tutorial. I hope you enjoy, and see you in the next one. All the best. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video.